Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Abel, and I am the chair of the licensing subcommittee. I, first of all, will just confirm that the recording has started. I'll start off by asking my fellow councillors to introduce themselves. Councillor Gunas.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Councillor Makbule Gunas. I'm a councillor for South Tottenham Ward, also a member of Licensing Committee.
Thank you. Councillor Peacock.
Good evening. My name is Councillor Sheila Peacock. I'm a councillor for South Tottenham and Vice Chair of Licensing.
Thank you. Could I ask the legal officer to introduce himself, please?
When I can get my microphone off mute. I'm Robin Levitt, legal advisor to the committee.
Thank you. Could I ask the licensing team leader to introduce herself, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Dale Barrett, the licensing team leader.
Thank you. And could I ask the clerk to introduce himself?
Absolutely. Richard Plummer, committees manager, acting as clerk of the committee.
Thank you. So I think the applicant has not joined the call, but the applicant's representative is here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly, Chair. My name's Rob Edge from Licence Leader Limited, the agent acting on behalf of the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't see whether we have any objectors on the call.
None, Chair.
No, we don't have any, Chair.
Thank you. So please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be available for public viewing. Clerk, have there been any apologies for absence?
Yes, we've received apologies from Councillor Weston and received a substitution request for Councillor Peacock to attend on behalf of Councillor Weston.
Thank you. And thank you, Councillor Peacock, for stepping in. Are there any items of urgent business, Clerk?
None received.
Thank you. Do the members have any declarations of interest? No. In that case, we can proceed with a summary of the procedure we're going to follow in this meeting. The procedure for the meeting has been emailed to all participants by the clerk. For the purposes of any members of the public watching, we will first hear from the licensing officer. After that, the applicant will present their case. The objectors in the subcommittee will have the opportunity to ask questions. Then the objectors, if they do join us, will present their representation, and the subcommittee and the applicant will have the opportunity to ask questions. Please keep your camera on while speaking. All parties will have the opportunity to sum up at the end, and then the meeting will conclude to allow the subcommittee to deliberate and reach a decision. This decision will then be provided in writing within 10 working days of this meeting. A few housekeeping rules. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand virtually and direct all communication via the chair. We will take all papers as read unless there is anything you wish to draw our attention to. All speakers will be allocated 5 minutes to speak. When speaking, please be succinct and do not exceed the allocated time, unless you request an extension of time and this is granted by the chair. Please do not share addresses of speakers. In the event that there are several speakers for each party, which I don't think will be the case today, please avoid repetition and perhaps consider having a spokesperson to address all concerns. So we're going to start off with the first item on the agenda, which is an application for a new premises license at the Mama's Kitchen. Ms. Barrett, please can you introduce your report?
Thank you, Chair. So the panel has before them the new application by the Mama's Kitchen, which has been submitted by Marilyn Nakamoto, and she's asking for the ability to offer regulated entertainment in the form of recorded music. Chair, please note that the times that's being applied for, should this license be granted this evening, they won't actually need to be shown on the license because that during those hours it would be exempt in any case under the legislation, so doesn't need to actually be granted under the license if you were to grant the alcohol aspect this evening. So that's for the sale of alcohol Monday to Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday 12 noon to 10 p.m. for both on and off the premises. And you've got the chair, also the times for the hours that the premises will be open to the public. The application form can be found at Appendix 1. During the consultation period, there were representations received. The Metropolitan Police and Trading Standards made representations, which were all agreed to by Ms. Nakamoto. And so you have here this evening, Chair, the representations submitted by other parties, Chair. In terms of the recommendations to the committee, once hearing from all parties, the committee may decide to grant the application as requested, grant the application whilst imposing additional conditions or altering it in any way, or altering the proposed operating schedule, exclude the license for activity from the application as it relates, or reject the whole or part of the application. Members are reminded to ensure that full reasons are given for that, whatever determination is made. The premises is situated along Commerce Road, which is predominantly residential. The representations received are from at least one individual that is licensed to sell alcohol in the area already. Basically, another nearby grocery store has made a representation. And of course, you've got another resident, Mr. Kurt, who had also made representation. I will remind that obviously you'll have the copy of the policy, the statement of licensing policy, and the section 182 guidance when going off for deliberations. And if I can just highlight that within the police representation, there has been a raft of matters put forward by the police, which the applicant has agreed to. And you can see those from page 29 onwards, and also the matter that the Trading Standards Officer had agreed to, which does in some way reflect a refusals book, which was also asked for by the police in any event. You've got on page 35 the representation from Ms. Arda Kurt, which speaks to concerns that they say they have already existing in the area, as the same from the other two people that had put in representation who operate a premises already in the area. The Mama's Kitchen did, in fact, try and do some mediation with the residents and did send out mediation letter, which was attached, just explaining how they wish to operate. But that didn't lead to the representations being withdrawn by the residents, Chair. And there I will leave it if you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Councillor Gunas, Councillor Peacock, do you have any questions for Ms. Barrett?
No.
Thank you. I just have one question, which I'm not sure if you're able to clarify this, Ms. Barrett, but there was something in the report that I found confusing. On page 8 of the pack, under supply of alcohol, on the Monday, there's a start 1 from 11 to 10, start 2 from 2. I wasn't sure if that was a mistake or whether that was a typo, or whether the implication is that the premises would start serving alcohol a second time at 2.
Sorry, Chair. Just to bear with me, please. I've got a number of applications open on my top here.
So it's page 8 of the pack.
It's actually confusing all the way through the signings.
Sorry, so that could have been my typo, but on the application, they are asking for the supply of alcohol from 11 a.m. through till 10 p.m. on a Monday.
So there's no second start time, essentially?
No.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I know it does say start on the application, which is very confusing, but
Yeah.
I think it's just
I
how the
think I can help.
forms
Chair.
then get
Mr.
printed
Edge,
out.
please,
Yeah,
please don't
sorry,
jump in.
Chair.
Yeah.
I think I can help
Ex-
having.
Could you raise your hand before
My
coming in,
apologies.
Mr. Edge?
From what I can see, Chair, is 11 supply of alcohol that's been requested there is saying 11 till 10. Sorry, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. and then you get to the Sunday, which is midday till 10 p.m. on the application form itself.
Excellent, thank you. That clarifies my question. Mr. Edge, did you want to come in?
No, I was just going to say, Chair, I know from other licensing authorities, it's just the way it translates across when it converts it in the document.
Thank you. Mr. Edge. Councillor Peacock?
Can we just delete all the start tos on every single day? It's just start to, end to, start to,
Yeah.
end to. Just delete all that.
You'll need
It's
to disregard
confusing.
it this time,
Yes.
Chair. I would look on the
Yes.
applicant I'll see how we can get it altered so when we send it off to be printed, that doesn't come up. It's just how the forms are, I'm afraid. So, but yeah, I'll see if we can do anything with that going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if there are no further questions for Ms. Barrett, I will now turn to Mr. Edge to make his representation. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Through you, Chair. Acting for the premises licence holder, we have given full regard to the representations made against the application, the Council's statement of licensing policy, the licensing objectives as set out in the Licensing Act 2003, and the updated Home Office guidance issued under Section 182 of the Act. As you're aware, this is a new application for a premises licence. It will be a licensed restaurant with 4 tables, approximately a capacity of 16 people, so not a very large venue by any means. The premises is a new business and is being refurbished by the new owner. The premises, as said, will be a restaurant where diners can have food and drink, and there are a small supplementary annex where groceries will be sold on one side of the premises. In regard to the representations made against this application, we respectfully submit that the responsible authorities, who are your experts on advising the committee, and of which there are 8, none have raised objections to the application. As was mentioned by licensing, both the police and trading standards proposed amended conditions, which most certainly have made the operating schedule much more robust, and those were readily agreed by the applicant. Beyond compliance, this venture represents a positive contribution to the local community, and it's projected to create employment for approximately 7 local people, thereby supporting the local economy and contributing to community regeneration. As the agent for the applicant, I emailed the objectors with the aim of negating the need for a subcommittee hearing through mediation. As you'll be aware, the Section 182 guidance encourages mediation to resolve concerns without the need for a hearing. I received no response back from those persons. The applicant remains fully committed to upholding the licensing objectives and to working constructively with all parties, including responsible authorities, moving forward. The applicant fully understands the sensitivities of operating in a residential setting and has proposed conditions to ensure minimal impact. This is emphasised by the fact that the sale of alcohol has been requested only until 10 o'clock, which is exceptionally early for any restaurant in any city. In summary, the applicant has demonstrated a clear commitment to the licensing objectives through substantial investment, proactive community engagement, and adherence to best practices. The absence of objections from the responsible authorities further supports the suitability of this application. I believe the premises should not be prejudged, and that each new application must be judged on its own merit. And it should be noted there are comments made against the application, but evidence has not been produced by any of the objectors. We're aware that the premises is situated in Commerce Road, which is predominantly residential, and that one of the representations, in fact, I'm led to believe now that two of the representations, one is the father, one is the daughter, are from the other premises that has a license to sell alcohol. And therefore it's slightly concerning whether that's really a representation or whether it's another business putting in an objection on the basis of competition. But obviously yourself and the members will make your own judgment on that. Whilst Commerce Road is primarily residential, it's not exclusively so, and the existence of a premises already operating in the vicinity demonstrates that these add to the community and offer a service to those living within the area. This concludes my submissions, unless you have any questions for me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Reg. And that was right on time. It was exactly 5 minutes.
Must have rehearsed it, Chair.
That's good to hear. So I'll turn to my fellow councillors to see if they have questions for Mr. Reg. No questions from Councillor Peacock. Councillor Gunas, do you have any questions?
I suppose just a general kind of question about the objectors. How many of them are they?
There were 3, Councillor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gunas. I have a few questions for you, Mr. Edge. I think the first is, so you told us that this establishment is going to be a small restaurant. Could you give us a bit more information about the objective of the restaurant? What kind of what's the theme of the restaurant? What the environment will be like?
I think it's going to be predominantly African type food. The applicant openly admitted that the amount of money available for investment and refurbishment of any premises that she took on was never going to be a king's ransom. That when she viewed the building, she kind of fell in love with it and thought, yes, I can do something with this. In all honesty, in my initial conversations with her, I'd said that I thought the amount of investment and the fact that it only had 4 tables and 16 people, she should possibly consider applying for longer hours to make the business more viable. She said, no, I wish to work strongly with the community. I want minimal hours. And if the business is successful, as she obviously hopes it would be, she would then consider extending the hours via full variation. That she was hopeful that anyone that did object would, as very often happens, people put an objection in, complain, and then 4 weeks later they're actually attending the restaurant and become a patron and say, oh, this is nice having this on the doorstep, not having to use a taxi to go to a restaurant. So, you know, that's where she is. She has run a restaurant before, so she's got experience, but she knows that the current climate for hospitality is quite volatile. You know, costs are constantly going up, especially with business rates, national insurance and other things. But she believes that she'll produce a niche and high quality of food and service that will be sufficient to keep the business going.
Thank you. And perhaps to build upon my previous question, is it correct, am I correct to understand that the idea is that patrons would buy a meal from this establishment and the alcohol would be an accompaniment to the meal? So you wouldn't be serving drinks only without
Yeah.
an accompanying
Yeah.
meal.
I mean, it is, especially given the size, that you know, if you were to give up, for example, 2 tables for people to sit there and drink, that's 50% of the capacity. I mean, the business wouldn't last very long at all if it were utilized only as a bar and not as a restaurant.
That's helpful to understand. I just have a couple more questions. I would have liked to ask these to the objectors, but I don't think they are, well, I don't see them on the call today. We've read the objections submitted by residents, and one of the themes that comes through in the objections is some concern about the safety of the area. I think there was one resident who mentioned that there had been fighting arguments in the street. Do you have a sense of what this street is like? What the sort of safety environment is on this particular street, and how is the applicant planning to make sure that her establishment does not contribute to any of these concerns around safety?
Yeah. I did speak to her because she was the one who carried out mediation with the police before I became involved. And the police had said that they had reports from the neighbourhood team about elements of antisocial behaviour in the area, but they didn't feel that because it's a restaurant and not a bar, that it would add to that problem. But one of the things in conversation, and it wasn't sort of conditioned as such, but it's something that the applicant is very likely to do, is to add CCTV to the outside of the front of the premises, for 2 reasons. One, that it'll assist the police when there are incidents in the vicinity, and the other one, that very often CCTV at the front of the building will deter people from loitering or causing problems outside the premises. But I think, as you're more than aware, it's very often difficult for a premises license holder to have a great deal of control once people are either leaving a premises or people that are loitering outside a premises. She says her approach will be, you know, that if young groups of people are gathering outside or close to the premises, she'll try and sort of do a sort of conflict resolution method of saying, look, would you be so kind as to not hang around here, you know, and just see how that goes. I mean, it's until the premises is up and running properly, she won't know how much of a problem that is. But I would suggest, if people are saying this, and the thread appears to be within those objections, that it sounds like this has been a long-standing issue. It's not something that's, you know, developed as a result of a premises that opened a month ago.
Thank you, Mr. Edge. I just have two more questions. First of all, I just wanted to clarify, you said that the applicant is thinking of adding CCTV to the front of the premises. Is this something she has already accepted to do?
Again, it was a part of a conversation I was saying to her. I know she's got lots of expenses and it's a brand new business, and talking about spending extra money is quite heavy. But, you know, I said it's actually a good investment because it is a deterrent for stopping people from congregating out the front. So I think she's very highly likely to do it. It probably won't be an immediate thing on her list.
Thank you. I can see that Ms. Nwokemodo would like to speak. Would you like to come in?
Yeah, I just want to come in here and mention about the CCTV. I've got different quote now. In fact, we're not going to start without having the CCTV. That's my plan. We're going to have 6 cameras, 1 in the front, 1 in the restaurant, 1 in the grocery side, 1 in the kitchen, and 1 at the back. So I plan to have 6 cameras in total. Definitely, I won't start trading. That's what I planned without having that CCTV, because it's also good for my own protection. So definitely I will have that. And also to say we've not started trading. The shop is not open. So I don't know from wherever they've started complaining in there about noise or playing music. I don't know where the music is coming from. The music we're going to have is just like a background music, something low, not like a party or nothing. Just something that someone will come into a restaurant and feel comfortable, but nothing more than that.
Thank you, Ms. Nwokemodo. Can I just check with the 6 cameras? Is one of the cameras pointing out onto the street?
It's going to point right in front of my own door. And then, yeah, that's 1. And then 1 at the back.
Yeah, okay.
I also plan to have the one inside the restaurant to have an audio. That's the only one. 1 or 2 to have an audio. And it's going to have 30 days recording as the police would want.
Thank you, Ms. Nwokemodo. Councillor Peacock, I think you wanted to come in.
No, only to tell you that she had her hand up.
Oh, yes. Ms. Barrett, did you want to come in?
Sorry, Chair, I was only going to say that the requirement to have CCTV is something that the applicant had already agreed to with the police.
Excellent. That's a really helpful clarification. I just have one more question. Mr. Edge, you mentioned that Ms. Nwokemodo has previous experience running a restaurant. Could you give me some more details on her experience? Perhaps she might want to come in herself and tell us
going to say,
about that.
It's probably unfair for me to speak on her behalf of previous experience. If it's okay with you, Chair, I'd like Marilyn to tell you herself.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. In 2020, we opened our first door in Ponders End. Is even more capacity than this one. Is about 10 tables at the back and 3 tables in the front. And we got permission as well. Mr. Edge do help me with getting my license as well, because that area is similar to Wood Green as well. So is a zone that is being protected as well. So until now, we've never had any single police problem. Police have never been to my restaurant for any antisocial behavior or anything. So since 2020, 5 years now, we're going to be 5 in October 2nd. That's when we opened the door in Ponders End. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're still running this
yes,
other restaurant?
It's still there. Yeah, it's still there.
Thank you for the clarification. I have no further questions. I'm just going to check if Councillor Gunas or Councillor Peacock have any questions for the applicant.
Nope.
In that case, Mr. Edge, I'm just going to ask you to sum up your position. You're on mute, Mr. Edge.
Sorry. What I will do is just go through bullet points rather than repeat everything. And I am consciously aware of my 5-minute time bar, Chair. As we said, it's a new application for a premises license with 4 tables. The hours only extend until 10 p.m. in the evening, which is very reasonable for a premises of this type. Of the 8 responsible authorities, 2 were mediated and have added conditions to the premises license. The others have considered the application sufficient. It will create valuable employment for local people. As was mentioned by the applicant just now, one at least of the 3 representations talked about noise, loud music, antisocial behaviour, etc., and yet the premises is not open and not operated. And therefore, without me teaching you how to suck eggs, but you know, it shouldn't be prejudged before it's had chance to prove itself. There's no evidence of any form produced by any of the objectors that any of the licensing objectives will be undermined. One of the conditions that the police have placed on, which should give assurance to members that the premises will be well staffed and well manned, is that they've asked for 3 staff on from 7 p.m. daily. So between the hours of 7 and 10, there will be at least 3 members of staff. Given the minimal operating hours applied for, the robust operating schedule, and the absence of any evidence suggesting that the licensing objectives would be undermined, we see no reason why members of the committee should not consider granting this license. And this concludes my submissions, unless you have any further questions for me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Edge. All that is left is for me to remind you that the committee will deliberate on its decision on this application, and the decision will be provided within 5 working days of this meeting. Can I just check, did the applicant want to come in?
Yeah, I just want to say one final thing. When I came to view the place, my intention was to do a takeaway and grocery. That's what I really want to do. But the agent, Claridge, came back to me to say that council would want a restaurant. So it's all their idea who brought me in, and I took it on. That is with their, I'm not saying they pushed me into it, but that's one of the things Adams in Claridge said that council would want, that I think they want somewhere that the community can sit down. Because if you look in the whole street, it's apart from the coffee shop, the number 1, there's no other place where people can sit.
Thank you. Can I just confirm who this agent is?
Clara, it's Adams in Claridge, who handles council's properties.
I'm not sure I follow. Ms. Barrett, do you have any
No
awareness
idea,
of who
I'm
this
afraid.
person is?
No, I wouldn't know. If it is a unit that is under the council's commercial property team.
Yeah, I think they're the agent who act on behalf of the council, letting
yes.
council properties.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a little bit like, and I don't want to step into the realms of planning, but you know, where they say if there's a saturation of pubs or takeaways in a particular street, they try and encourage the letting to go for a different use, coffee shops, restaurants, so that there's a good multi-spread of mixed retail options for residents.
Thank you. Okay, that's helpful clarification. So we'll close this item here. The committee will deliberate after this meeting, and we will issue a decision within 5 working days. We had said we would start the next item at 7:45. I think Mr. Edge, Miss Nwakamodo, there's no obligation for you to stay on to listen to the remaining items. So if you have more exciting plans for the evening, you're most welcome to leave now. If you'd like to stay on, you
Uh,
can of course stay on to listen to the rest of the meeting.
No, I will leave.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much to you and to members and to the staff for your time this evening. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So we said we would take a short recess before we receive the 2 temporary notices at 7:45. It's only 3 minutes to 7:45, but I suggest we take a short comfort break for these 3 minutes, and then we'll join the call again at 7:45 to hear the 2 temporary event notices. Richard, should we start the meeting again?
Happy to. Well, I mean, technically we're not quorate yet until councillors Peacock and Gunes turn back up. Sorry, I'll put my camera on.
Sorry, we're here. I'm here.
I'm just waiting on Councillor Peacock. I believe we're quorate again.
Excellent. We will now continue with the meeting to hear 2 temporary event notices. So we will start off with the first temporary event notice, which relates to Sheniki. Ms. Barrett, please can you introduce your report about Sheniki, please?
Thank you, Chair. Can I just, for the recording, can we just acknowledge the officers here and also
Apologies.
that the license holder is also on the call?
Apologies. Should we briefly do introductions? I'm not going to introduce councillors and officers again, but perhaps could the applicant for Sheniki introduce themselves?
Yeah, my name is Mr. Lemba, and this is my wife, Nicole.
Thank you. And I think the objector is a police constable. Could the police constable introduce themselves, please?
Oh, good evening. My name is PC Kostake, and I'm representing the police team. Thank you.
Thank you, police constable. Could you kindly put your camera on so that we can see you? Thank you. Ms. Barrett, back to you.
Chair, I think you've got Mr. Bellringer also on the call
I
for this
see.
matter.
Mr. Bellringer, are you here for this item?
Yes, I am. Craig Bellringer, Senior Noise and Nuisance Officer.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett?
Thank you, Chair. So the panel has before them an objection to a temporary event notice submitted by Mr. Lemba for Sheniki at 295 West Green Road N15, and it was requesting the ability to provide license for activity throughout the whole premises, including the rear area, which is prohibited from license for activity under the current premises license. So this temporary event notice was to override that to allow for the use of that rear area also for license for activities between the 16th to the 20th of August. The application itself has received representation from both the Noise Team RA and the Met Police. The application states that the notice is being submitted to permit license for activities for 96 hours for birthdays and graduations taking place throughout the whole premises. You have at Appendix 1 the application itself, and at Appendix 2 copies of the objections received from the RAs. There is a existing premises license which is shown at Appendix 3. The premise, as I've stated, the rear area of the premises was not permitted, was prohibited from use by the licensing subcommittee when the initial grant of the license was discussed by the subcommittee, and the temporary event notice is being sought is seeking to allow the use of that area. Sorry, Chair, let me just try and cover the main points. In terms of the application before yourselves, the committee need to either determine if it considers it appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives to grant the to allow the notice through, or if not, to reject the notice before the panel this evening, Chair. Should you, whichever whichever decision is made, the council will need to provide a counter notice to the notice giver to Mr. Lember with the outcome of the panel's decision here this evening, Chair. Chair, if I take you through, as I've said, you've got the application at Appendix 1 and the police and noise representation is at Appendix 2, Chair, along with the objection notice that was served to Mr. Lember. And Chair, I can leave it there if you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Councillor Peacock, Councillor Gunas, do you have any questions for Ms. Barrett?
Not at the moment.
Thank you. Mr. Levitt, would you like to come in?
When I've taken my mute off, just a point of order, which is that we will have to announce the outcome of the 10 consideration at the end of the meeting after deliberation. We will then, since the start of the period is Saturday, we will then, if the outcome is to serve council notice, that and the reasons will then have to be served during the course of tomorrow.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Levitt. Councillor Gunas, did you have a question for Ms. Barrett?
No, not at this moment.
Thank you. I just have one question, Ms. Barrett. You mentioned that the current license doesn't allow the applicant to use the rear area for events and essentially to host patrons. Do you recall why this decision was taken when that license was granted? I'm conscious that might be a tough question, but
I think sorry, Chair. Yeah, I may have alluded into it in the report, but in effect, the rear area, it was in fact previously a garage workspace. It has a plastic roof covering, and there were residents who attended the initial hearing that spoke about noise and the impact it had from them when the premises was, shall I say, making use of the area prior to a license being granted. There, just as a by way of update, so the licensing subcommittee imposed that no licensed activities is permitted from that rear area, and I believe Mr. Lember has recently obtained planning permission for that rear area now, and part of that planning permission is to ensure that a secure roof was installed on that particular area of the premises. Not aware that that has been carried out at all, but then the planning permission was only granted, I believe, last week or maybe the end of last week, something like that. But yeah, there has been ongoing issues as a result of the use of the area.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. So we are first going to hear from the objector.
Can I just say, sorry, Anna, but yes, I do have a question now for Dahlia.
Go ahead.
What she just said, because I thought that when you have a shisha bar, which is basically what it was out the back, you have to have it has to be open to the air. So yeah, what you're saying, if it's going to have a solid roof or whatever, then it cannot be used for shisha bar. It cannot be used for that.
Yeah, I'm not aware of shisha playing a part in this at all. What it's been, the members who heard this matter first just prohibited its use because it just wasn't a soundproofed or enough of any kind of proofing really to stop noise escape, which was going to badly impact the nearby residents. This wasn't about a shisha activity. They just didn't want any activities taking place in that area because it was, there was just no soundproofing there. And that was the main reason, as I recall.
I'm sorry to disagree, because I was actually at that meeting, and one of the reasons that Mr. Lember wanted that area at the back was for that particular purpose, and that was the decision of the committee at the time, that shouldn't happen.
Well, Chair, to be honest, whether it's for shisha or not, the committee wouldn't have really been thinking directly about shisha. It would have been around the preventative measures around upholding and promoting the objectives. And so
Yeah.
it was about the prevention of public nuisance, really, as
Yeah.
to why that area was not going permitted to be used.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Mr. Lemba, I can see that you disagreed with the point that Councillor Peacock made. I just want to give you the opportunity to clarify whether you ever intended to use this area as a shisha lounge.
I mean, we took this place actually. The previous people apparently was using shisha here. We took it with maybe the same objective, but we found out that it was not viable. So we stopped that. So we modified the area, the back of area, to use it as a sitting place, as a restaurant. So because looking at it, if we use a shisha area, that's been like we have to have the half of the roof open. So if the half of the roof is open, that will affect people on the back of it with noise. So that's why we say we have we dropped that activity to use as a shisha. So we focus mainly to add more sitting over to reserve it as a sitting area for our customers, because we are in front of our restaurant right now, but we have not many seats here. So yeah, that was our objective, to add more seat on the back there.
Thank you for the clarification. So we'll now hear from the objectors, and then we will move to the notice giver. So I think the first objector is Police Constable Kostake. You have 5 minutes to present your objection.
Yes, thank you. I was checking the police report, and the most recent calls to the police, they were on the 19th of July. Initially, they were said about a different number on West Green Road. Then the caller called to rectify that the number was 295 West Green Road, cornered with Olive Grove and 15. And this was about 3 o'clock in the morning. It was not, the call was not attended by the police because it was said that I be a resident that was playing loud music, even though it was not proof that was coming from them. We had a conversation with the local authority, and we know that the premises has been found in a breach of their premises licensing condition multiple times. Sorry, and was recently substantiated by the local authority on the 26th of July. And they received multiple complaints relating to the public nuisance. And I believe that this gives police concerns that the applicant will not uphold the licensing objective for this and therefore object to it being granted. And I'm sure that Noise and Nuisance team, they will say and speak about the complaints that there are involving noise and public nuisance, and the premises they've been found breaching their licensing condition, as in the fact that they were open after their ending times after 1 o'clock. Thank you. Sorry, I have a bit of a cough.
That's okay, Ms. Kostake. If you need to grab some water, we're happy to wait for you. We'll now open to. I'll just give Ms. Kostake some time to have some. Would you like to have some water, Ms. Kostake?
Yeah, that's fine. I finished. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll open the floor for questions for Police Constable Kostake. Councillor Peacock, Councillor Gunas, do you have any questions? Councillor Peacock, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, yes. The only question I would ask of you is that is there anything since July, because that's a couple of weeks away and we had the hot weather now, so have you had any more complaints?
Police Constable Kostaka, are you still
She's
in
on
the
mute.
meeting?
She's
Sorry,
on
can
mute.
you repeat the question?
Have you had any more complaints since the last complaint in July?
No, I checked the system and there are no complaints from our side, from police side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, do you want to come in on that point?
Yes, I can do. I can inform the panel that we have received, the local authority has received complaints, and they've come directly into the licensing service, the last one being a week ago.
Exactly.
That we'd had a complaint from a resident relating to late night noise. It's music and people noise, it seems.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. I have one more question for Police Constable Kostaka, if that's okay. So my question relates to the complaint you received, I believe, on the 19th of July. So do I understand correctly that you were not able to establish whether the complaint related to this establishment or to another establishment or to a resident making noise? Have I understood you correctly that you were not able to confirm whether the noise was coming from this establishment?
Yeah, this is the correct, because initially they pointed out 395 West Green Road. Then the caller called back to say the correction that actually it was 295 West Green Road.
So you went to 395 and you didn't find anything?
As far as I understood from the card, the police has not attended, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Police Constable. Councillor Gunas, I just wanted to check if you have questions for the Police Constable.
I suppose to a general kind of question that more to Dalia, in terms of the complaints to the council, to the noise team.
So I think Mr. Bellringer will cover these later on in the meeting, Makbule.
Okay, so in that case, I'll leave my question for later.
Yes,
then.
thank you. Mr. Lemba, do you have questions for the Police Constable?
I mean, my question really is about, police are there to safeguard actually the safety and of us actually. If it's been called that there is a noise over there and a 1010 was put in place, I don't know if I have to go back to if I did, but to be honest, if I put an application, one of the applications has been submitted to the police. If there is a complaint of noise, to be honest, they have a duty to come and investigate that noise. If it was something really serious, that it was affecting whoever made a call, I think they have a duty of care to come and check where the noise was coming from. At the moment, I see that the police are not sure.
What is your question, Mr. Lemba? At this point, I only want to hear questions. What is your question for the Police Constable?
My question is if she's 100% sure that the noise they receive a report for was coming from my premises.
Thank you. Police Constable?
As I said, police has not attended, unfortunately, so I can't confirm that 100% was mentioned. 295 when was the correction made, West Green Road, 3 o'clock in the morning, but police cannot confirm because unfortunately they haven't not attended on that occasion only. I mean the response team.
Thank you, Police Constable. Councillor Peacock, did you want to ask a question?
Yes, my question actually is of Dahlia, because, or it might be Mr. Bellringer, if he is noise enforcement.
I think
Because-
if there are questions about the complaints, the noise complaints, we'll ask them to
Yeah.
Mr. Bellringer
Yes,
later on.
yes,
For now, we're
yeah.
just looking
Okay,
at questions
okay,
to the police
okay.
constable. I actually do have one more question for Police Constable Kostaka. You mentioned that so on the 19th of July, the police did not visit the premises. Have there been any complaints prior to the 19th of July where the police received a complaint and you did visit the premises? And if so, what did you find?
I have not found other recent complaints for these premises. Thank you.
Thank you, Police Constable. So we will now move on to Mr. Bellringer from the Council's noise team. Mr. Bellringer, you have 5 minutes to present your objection.
Thank you, Chair. So we received a report to the licensing team about the premise staying open past closing times. This was back in May. I attended myself on the 3rd of May at 1:25 a.m. To the premise. The premise should, as per their premise license, should be closed at, the closing time is 1 a.m. I attended at 1:25 a.m. and the premise was open and operating. There was multiple people inside finishing food, and alcoholic drinks were seen. In the back area where there is no licensed activity, there was multiple people in that back area. I spoke with the DPS, Mr. Lambert, explained that he should be closed and the reasons why he was stayed open. He didn't really give me anything why. He just apologized and said it wouldn't happen again. I issued Mr. Lambert with a licensing breach letter. And then again on Saturday, the 26th of July, officers attended at 1:15 a.m. and there were 5 people in the rear area where no licensable activity should be taking place. He did apply for a late tens, which was rejected. And he said he never received, from the officer's report, he never received an email to state that he had the refusal or even granted the late tens. So they're the 2 issues that we've had personally where we've gone and witnessed the premise staying open past 1 a.m. Mr. Lambert has submitted 5 late tens requests, which have all been refused, and these are all for, you know, for over numerous days that they've been applied for a birthday party. In one instance, one was a birthday party and it was for over 6 days, and the closing and the finish times were 3:30 a.m. Which were all refused, and this is the only tens that hasn't been a late tens that we have refused due to the issues regarding him staying open past his closing time. We received 1 report of loud music, and that was received at 2 a.m. and that was outside of our service hour. That was a day that we didn't have a noise service, so we haven't been there. So that's the only noise report we received is 1. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bellringer. Councillor Gunas, Councillor Peacock, do you have questions for Mr. Bellringer? Councillor Peacock, do you want to come in first?
Very helpful. I've got all these lists of all the times of it, tens have been applied for and tens have been turned down.
Yeah.
And I can see that there's
Excuse
more...
me, sorry to interrupt you, Councillor Peacock. Mr. Lemba, could you go on mute because we can't hear Councillor Peacock? Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Peacock.
All these in July were turned down, and I can see that there's also was one on the 6th of the 8th, and that was turned down. That was last week.
Yeah.
Do you know if actually there did an event take place at that time, even though the tens was turned down?
I don't believe so. I don't believe that Mr. Lambert stayed open past closing times. We never received any reports.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peacock. Councillor Gunas, do you have questions for Mr. Bellringer?
No, actually, it's been clarified. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one question, Mr. Bellringer. So if I understood you correctly, you said that when you spoke to Mr. Lemba on one occasion, he had said that he had submitted the TENs and had not heard back from the council, neither whether the council was in favour or whether the council was against the TENs. In your experience, is that possible, that he could have submitted the TENs and the system missed it and we did not get back to him on it?
No, I was blind copied into the email that was given to Mr. Lamba. I'm sure Dahlia could clarify a little bit better, but I was blind copied into the email to him to say that it's not been granted.
Thank you, Mr. Bellringer. Ms. Barrett, did you want to come in on this point?
Yes, Chair, I can confirm that the office did in fact send out the notification to Mr. Lambert to say that the late TENs was rejected. And in relation, Councillor Gunness just asked if there was anything that took place. For the last, no, Councillor Peacock just asked if anything took place the last TENs for the 6th of August, was it? So the resident, one of the residents actually got in touch. My email to them was on the 6th of August, and on that telephone conversation, that was also talking about a late event the weekend prior, which had led them to have to get out of their bed at 2:30 in the morning to go to the premises to say enough is enough to them, and was that they were not assisted when they got to the premises. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Mr. Lemba, do you have any questions for Mr. Bellringer? You're on mute, Mr. Lemba. You're on mute. I think
my question is about the Let's Stand response. They said they sent me a letter that I never emailed, that they confirmed that they received an email. I have issue with receiving email from the Avonlea Council. Dahlia, she's there, she can confirm that even this meeting today, apparently they sent me an email several times, but the link I am able to speak now, I received it today after requesting 2 times. I wrote a letter to her, email to her yesterday, that where's the meeting link? I never received one. And today, around 4 o'clock or whatever, I sent another email. Then they resend you another one. That the time I received, and then I received the email. So if I said I didn't receive the email of rejection of the 10, I never received it. Because the late 10 I'm receiving now, rejection, I saw them that when we have this meeting. If I saw them, yes, I was going to cancel my events or whatever, but I never received those emails. I never received them.
Mr. Lemba, what is your question for Mr. Bellringer?
My question is if you can confirm that the email was sent. How can you confirm that the email was sent to me, was received? Can you confirm that?
Sorry, Chair, can I answer that? Because the email was sent from my office. So yes, I can confirm that the emails were sent. I'm not aware of there being an issue with Mr. Lemba receiving emails, because any warning emails that have been sent since the grant of the license, he has received and he has responded to. He has today, as in fact yesterday evening, sent an email to say, can he be sent the link for the meeting? And again today, he sent a further email to ask, can he have the link for the meeting?
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. So now we'll move to the notice giver. Mr. Lemba, you have 5 minutes to present your position.
I mean, to be honest, like you said, my previous license was where the granted license for this property was, the back area was refused. It affected my business very, very hugely. And I have no people here. I am in restaurants right now, but there is nobody. Since morning, we have not even one customer working here. So the thing we rely on at the moment is those booking for birthday or whatever. And no, birthday cannot run until 5 o'clock, 5 days or whatever, or 3 days. I asked those 10 for 3 days because I don't want to breach. If somebody come, they see 2 or 3 people sitting on the back of the sitting that I am on a bridge. That's why I try to extend it, because I am allowed to have 4 or 5 days of the 10. So, but lately all my 10s have been rejected. To be honest, for me, they talk about noise. Since I opened this place, I recall I can say only 2 people has complained about noise. The rest of them never. They are appreciative of this place. They come to congratulate me to say there's a beautiful place you are put in a neighborhood. Most of them are coming to seek employment here instead of making complaints for noise. Only 2 people are making complaints. One of them being the first person who objected my license from the beginning. And the second one, I believe, is his friend. There are only 2 people I recall making complaint like those ones. The rest, they come here, they appreciate the place. But the only one making a bit of money at the moment, because I'm not known, is by those booking. People come over here, they want to make a little bit party over, a little bit event over here. For me to use that is for applying for those tents. So apart from that, I have to pay money from my own pocket to pay the rent here. If you have something you can add.
We can't hear you very well.
They started the way people treat us as a business. We open a business to run. We don't have no money. Only here we've been receiving. We have to pay rent. We have to pay the bill. Complain. Like I just heard the police said they complained last week. Last week nothing happened here. They refused for 4 weeks. Mr. Bellingham is here. They refused us 4 weeks for business. We don't do nothing here. Yesterday we didn't get even a £10. And the money every day 19, we have to give the money for the landlord. Who's complaining? There's one guy here, he come here with his friend, he get drinking with us, with a customer, it's him. He don't sleep, he's got problem. And the neighbor, another lady. As me, I'm sorry, I will take like racist, because many people here, they run the business, they stick only on us, and we are new. If we don't work, people don't work. Now we are open the business, we've been treated bad. Now they accept us, thank God. We have to put the roof on the back. Let's see how it goes. Then Mr. Cook said, Peacock, he said here, from the beginning, it was shisha. We never mentioned shisha. We found the people here, there was here, illegal use of shisha. But we came, we declare everything here. Everything, we have every step of paper. We declare. Is it clear? And we've been treating unfair. Mr. Bellingham came here, the council, the Haringey. Mr. Lemba explained to him, he said, he apologized, but he told him, he said, we always send, yes, we never do without that. We always send it. If we see the email come, of course, we will reply to him. We never see the email. This is a business. This is our life. This is for our kid. So that's the problem here. So our business has been stuck. We are not getting nothing, no money, no nothing.
Sometimes in the morning until evening. If there is a good day, I will put £25 in my cashier. £25.
And
£25. I'll close my door as the fence door. You see, the only time I can make money, only even to pay the rent here, is through those booking. That's the only time I'm making. Yeah, for that last day, you can say all the terms for the last 4 weeks have been refused. If somebody complained us last week, that's wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Lemba. Your 5 minutes are up, so I'm going to ask you to stop there. Councillor Peacock, Councillor Gunas, do you have any questions for Mr. Lemba? Councillor Gunas.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Lemba, I'm just curious to understand why you keep kind of not, keeping to your licensing terms and condition. Why do you keep the premises open beyond the agreed date, hours, sorry? And lastly, like, I just want to understand what's your reason, what happens there. Do you find yourself in a position where people are there and you can't say no? Or, I mean, it's just, yeah, I just want to understand that a little bit. But also, it's like you've obviously invested in this business. You want this business to be successful. Can you demonstrate anything that demonstrate that you have responded to some of the concerns of the residents and you're working with the council to kind of address those issues so that you could run your business responsibly? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. To answer those questions, to be honest, first of all, like I said, the few times they found me operating beyond my time, I was sure that I had a 10 in place. The 10 in place allowed me to operate until, I don't know, the time I request, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That is the request I put in my 10 applications. So if you find me operating until 1:30 in the morning, I believe that I was within those boundaries. You see, so. But apparently 10 was refused, that I was not aware of it. Talking about my business over here, I'm really sad that I was not granted a license for use the premises of the back area. So far, what I've done is to apply to use the back by those application. It took Ironga Council 8 months to grant my application. Yes, thanks to God, it has been granted. So by next week, hopefully, I'm going to go contractor here to start working on that area to close, to put a proper roof and put a soundproof there. So that is how I am concerned. I want to have a good relationship between me and all my neighbors. Like I said, I have that relationship with my neighbor. Everyone, when they come out, they appreciate this place. They thank me for putting this place here. You see, they said if this place is successful, you will give us a job. They gave me numbers here. I have all the phone number. That's what I'm working toward, that I can make this place good.
Thank you, Mr. Lemba. Councillor Peacock, do you have any questions for Mr. Lemba?
Only question that I have is that you are open from 11 o'clock in the morning on all the days, and yet I drive past constantly and I've never seen you open at 11 o'clock. And if you're so concerned, as you say, of getting more patronage coming to your business, you should be concentrating perhaps on that element and getting people to come in.
Councillor Peacock, what is your question, please?
Why isn't he not open at the licensing hours that he's requested?
I mean, yes, I have a license opening at those sometime maybe. We are just the two of us. Our kids, they are small. You understand? I don't know how many times a part of a fund does not open at 11. Yeah, there are a few days we open at 11. There are few. Sometimes I have to go to, like I said, I have to go to work. I have to go to work to support this business. Sometimes I put money here, my own money, my own wages here. I have to work. You understand? If I know this place was doing good, I know that yes, I will open even 7 o'clock to start selling coffee. I will. There are a few days I open 7 o'clock to sell coffee again. Maybe I sell 4 or 5 cups of coffee here. I know that, yes, we are new. It takes time to turn around. But yeah.
Can I just say then, how many
Sorry,
people...
Councillor Peacock, could you pause? Because I think the applicant was still speaking, and I don't think we can hear Mr. Lemba. I don't know your wife's name. Unfortunately, we can't hear her. I think she's a bit far from the microphone, so perhaps she wants to step forward to make her point.
Have a money to pay
Can you move forward? We can't hear you. I think you need to move.
What's she trying to say at the moment, really? So if we had like a proper revenue here, that the proper turnaround, yes, I'll have somebody here to open 7 o'clock, start selling tea. Of course, I know my alcohol license started at 11, but we don't have that turnaround to employ somebody to be here at those times. So that's why sometimes we find this place closed, because myself, I have to go to work and she has to look after the kids. So when I'm free that day, yeah, I come over here open early. So that is the situation we are with at the moment.
Thank you, Mr. Lemba. Councillor Peacock, did you have another question?
Yes, and that arises my concerned. If you're not there and your wife is not there, who is running the business and how many people are there? Because I'm concerned that they might be disregarding the tones and the tens, and you're not aware of that.
No. When the tens happen, I'm here. I'm here. I'm saying that if you see my 10 application, mostly focused when I have an event is always maybe Friday, Saturday, and I extend my 10 until whenever those like Mr. Billings has said that for 4 days, just to cover myself. Like somebody can come over here, you want to have maybe a glass of something to eat, and you look the bag, say, I want to sit on the bag. Everybody walking, they want to sit on the bag. So I extend those days just in case to cover myself. If somebody, one person sit on the back of it, at least I have something in place to cover that one person or to cover those 6 persons. But every time the event happen here, I'm here. Myself, I'm here. My wife is here. If we have a lot of people, we bring some more people here to help that particular day.
Thank you, Ms. Lemba. So if I'm understanding correctly, Sheila, on the days that Mr. Lemba and his wife are not available, those are the days when the establishment is closed. Sorry, you're on mute, Councillor Peacock.
What he is saying is not days, but hours, because he's allowed to open earlier. And then, then I thought that if he really needs the money, then he should be extending opening it early to cut the other trade.
Our job is not to tell people how to run their business. We're here to discuss.
He's very worried about money. Very worried.
Thank you, Councillor Peacock. So I'll now take questions from the objectors. Police Constable Kostaka, do you have questions for Mr. Lemba?
Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to know if they are happy. I understand the hard times they are going through with the business and so on and so forth. I was thinking if they are able in the future, when they are applying for TENS, to include an operating schedule together with the TENS application, because the premises continue to submit TENS with the same explanation over and over, and they don't give too much explanation. Realistically, they need to be more details on how the premises is going to uphold the licensing objectives, especially when there is evidence of them breaching it. So this is my question, if they are happy in the future to provide us operating schedule together with the TENS application. Thank you.
Thank you, Police Constable Kostaka. Mr. Lemba, would you like to answer that question?
I will try my best to supply one. Like I said, that most of my event takes place either Friday, Saturday, rarely Sunday. So if I have one on Sunday, yes, that's fine. But if you say my 10, I extended them maybe for another few days during the week. So I put some times over there, but most of the time I have nobody here. There is not such event taking place. I'm just saying myself that maybe if I catch 1 customer, 2 customer, and they want to sit on the back, I'm covered to put that person on the back there. So really, yeah, if during the day that I have proper event that there is on a Saturday or Friday, yes, I will provide. I don't know. Yeah, I'll try my best to. I'll provide it. Yeah, I'll provide it. Yes.
Mr. Lemba, can I ask a follow-up question? So are you submitting these TENS because you want to hold a particular event, or because you essentially want to be covered in all instances in case someone wants to in case someone enters your restaurant and wants to sit at the back?
Mostly the weekend 10 is I have an event.
Mm.
But the rest of the week, I have nothing. I just cover myself if somebody want to sit on the back. But weekend, Friday, Saturday, 95% of the time I have an event. But weekday, I have nothing.
So what do you mean by you just cover yourself if someone wants to sit outside during the week?
During weekday, for example, Tuesday, Wednesday, if somebody customer come here, and because even yourself, if you come over here, you look my back, you prefer to sit on the back. So on the Tuesday, if somebody come and say, "Oh, you served me food, but I want to sit on the back." So if I put them on the back, at least I know that I'm covered. I don't know
And
if
do you
that
want
makes
to be
sense.
covered with the tents?
With the tent, that's correct. But it's not such a, I don't have such event taking place on the weekday. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lemba. Mr. Bellringer, would you like to ask your question?
No further questions, Chair.
Thank you. So we'll now move to summing up the positions of the different parties. Police Constable Kostaka, could you sum up your position, please?
So overall, I do not believe that the applicant is able to demonstrate that he is upholding the licensing objectives. So therefore, I still object to this being granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Police Constable. Mr. Bellringer, could you sum up your position, please?
Thank you, Chair. After being there twice and seeing Mr. Lambert staying open past his closing times, I also agree that we struggle to believe that he can uphold the licensable objectives, and I object to the 10s going ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bellringer. Mr. Lemba, could you sum up your position, please?
Like I said, on the house,
We can't hear you. I think you need to move closer to your microphone.
These tents are at the moment the only source of my income at the moment. I can say over here, if I have I'm able to move my camera around here, you will see that this place is completely empty at the moment. Since we open, nobody is here. If I have a 10 event on the weekend, that's at least it helped me to have something to pay the landlord in end of the month. Really, removing me, refusing my tents, really, it is jeopardizing my business, basically. I know that I am in the process of doing the back of it there so that we can have enough this thing. I don't have to apply for 10 in the future. But at the moment, I rely on those 10s. Refusing them really is like putting me out of business. I can say that the few occasions they came here to find me opening beyond my operating, yet I explained why that happened. Because I believed, because I always put a 10, that my 10 was granted. Because if you put a 10, they said that you will hear until this date. If this date passes, you never hear nothing from us, assume that your 10 has been granted. So really, if a 10 was refused and I received, I'm not in a position that to go ahead with that. The last 4 weeks, all my 10s have been refused. I held no event over here. I received those emails and I appealed to them. That's why we are here. The previous one, I don't know where the email went. I'm not sure. If I did receive them 100%, I was not going to carry those events. The last 4 weeks I had event over here. I had to cancel them. They didn't go ahead. All my 10 was refused. All of them. I canceled those events. Previously, if I did receive your email, I believe that I was going to cancel them too. So don't assume that because you came over here, found me operating beyond my operating time, because I had a reason. I believe that I had something in place. But it's not like I will object or I will carry on do something that I believe that I can't go ahead and do that. No, I can't do that.
Thank you, Have you concluded, Mr. Lemba?
I want to add something. You okay with that? To be honest, I want to establish a good relationship with myself, my restaurant, and my neighbors over here. Like I said, all my neighbors, they appreciate this place. They appreciate this place immensely. If they come over here and said, okay, the last 4 weeks they said, we didn't hear no music over there, what's happened? I said, no, people are complaining that we are noise. I said, they are minority. That's what they use, minority. It's minority. All of them, they like this place. They enjoy this place. They like it. Well, hopefully, I don't know if they had maybe, because my cuisine is a Congolese cuisine, you understand? But if it was maybe another cuisine, maybe they was going to come down here. I'm not sure, but maybe I have to get used to that, maybe in the future. But at the moment, I rely to those few tens really to make myself until the time that maybe I can be known, to be honest. Refusing them, it put me really and my family in jeopardy.
Thank you, Mr. Lemba. I'd just like to clarify next steps with Mr. Levitt. Should we deliberate now on this TENS, or should we deliberate after we've heard the next TENS?
Sorry, trying to get my mic off mute. You could take either approach. Do we actually have the next applicant here? Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah,
We do,
yeah. You could take either approach. You can either deal with this one and then go on, or you can deal with both and then deliver the decision at the end.
Do we also need to deliver the
Mr.
decision
Lemba will be
on? Do we also need to deliver the decision on Pirates Grog unit today?
Yes, that is all. That is another 10.
Okay.
So, because we have a single hearing dealing with 2 10s.
Yes.
And so at the conclusion of that hearing, you have to deliver a result, although I can see Richard is thinking about that.
No, I was just thinking procedurally it might be easier to take both at the end of the meeting, simply because then we can deliberate on both at the same time and deliver both afterwards, rather than adjourning and reconvening the meeting.
In that case, we will do that. So we're going to hear the next 10s, and then we will deliberate and come back to the meeting to announce the decision on both 10s. So the next item on the agenda relates to a temporary event notice for Pirates Grog unit. Mr. Barrett, please could you introduce your report?
And can Mr. Lambert go?
Yeah.
It's up
no,
to
he'll
him.
need
We will announce the decision on his 10s at the end of the meeting, so he might want to stay to listen
right.
to the decision.
Thank you, Chair.
Miss Barrett.
Would you like Mr. Noble to introduce himself for the purpose of the recording?
Apologies. Mr. Noble, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, I'm Gareth Noble, one of the directors at Pirates Grog Rum.
Thank you. Police Constable Kostake, are you also an objector on this 10s? I can't hear you, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm speaking on behalf of my colleague, PC Denham.
Thank you.
So, yes.
And thank you. And Mr. Darvish, are you representing the noise team on this 10s?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, I am.
Thank you, Mr. Darvish. Ms. Barrett, please could you introduce your report?
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'll briefly set out the matter before the committee this evening. It's a temporary event submitted on behalf of Pirates Grog by Gareth Noble. Pirates Grog is based at Unit 25, the Millmead Business Centre in Millmead Road, and it is seeking 10s to offer licensable activity, and they were in the form of regulated entertainment and the sale of alcohol on the 5th of October 2025. There has been representations made by both the ASB Noise RA and the Metropolitan Police. The notice is set out at Appendix 1, and you'll see, Chair, that at Appendix 2, you have a copy of the representations submitted. Just to clarify, please, Chair, the at Appendix 3, the copy of the premises license you have there, can I just clarify, please, that the sale of alcohol, the premises does already have an existing license, and just to clarify that for the sale of alcohol, that is permitted between 12 midday and 4:30 a.m. on a Saturday. So that's the Saturday into the Sunday morning for the premises, with the public needing to be off the premises by 5 a.m. So in effect, the application for the 10 submitted would be from 5 a.m. on the 5th of October through to 12 noon on the 5th of October. And at that point, the terms of premises license come into effect from 12 noon to then be able to carry through until 4:30 for licensed activities, and everybody off the premises by 5 a.m. the following morning. The panel, if they decide to, if the panel may decide to grant the notice given or to reject that notice. If it is rejected, then a counter notice will need to be served on Mr. Noble. And Chair, I don't believe there's anything further I need to add there, Chair. Obviously, you've got the documents there in front of you. It's interesting to note that obviously Mr. Noble has put on the application form that he has given some context that the premises will be operated as a nightclub to play amplified music, and it is an event. I believe it's called Wiggle, and is a social music event that it's stated as, but there's no further information on that. And there is going to be SIA security put in place as well around this venue for this event. It's saying that they're sorry, I'm just doing a quick saying that they would be assessing also sound and noise emanating from the event also. And Chair, there I will leave it if you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Councillor Peacock, Councillor Gunas, do you have any questions for Ms. Barrett?
Yes, if you don't mind. The police report talks about 39 hours, and they recommend that that we don't really need to have attendance for the hours that they already have. What's your comment on that?
I don't really have a comment on that, because I'm not making any recommendations on these, Chair, but obviously for the type of event, and no doubt Mr. Noble will be able to explain to you, you can ask him to explain what the Wiggle event is about and why it needs to run, why it needs to run all day from 5 a.m. through one day into the next day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. So we'll now hear from the objectors. Police Constable Kostake, could you please present your objection?
Yes, thank you very much. As I'm speaking on behalf of my colleague PC Denham, as I mentioned before, after reviewing the dates and the hours requested, it would mean that the premises would have the opportunity to be open continuously for 39 hours. And police feel that in order for the licensing objectives to be upheld, the current opening hours for the premises are sufficient enough. And then I need to mention that there were no police calls from this address. I checked the system. However, police believes that regarding the public safety objectives, there are concerns about people potentially drinking alcohol for long period of time or taking illegal substances, and safety of the staff being open so many hours. So my question at the end of for Mr. Noble will be about the description of this social music event, and then is it what is actually be involved in this and what time it will start? Thank you.
Thank you, Police Constable Kostaka. You will have the opportunity to ask questions to Mr. Noble later on. Councillor Peacock, Councillor Gunas, do you have any questions for Police Constable Kostaka? I do not have further questions either. Mr. Noble, do you have a question for Police Constable Kostaka?
No, not really. I mean, I guess, yeah, if we're adhering to the 4 licensable objectives, which we obviously do each weekend, then if you have different events back to back, I don't necessarily understand what changes. Would it be beneficial if the venue shut for an hour and then started again? But obviously, if we're responsible and have shown that from previous events, is that not, is it not fine as long as you're adhering to the objectives, kind of under the 24-hour licensing act?
Police Constable Kostaka, could you kindly reply to that question?
No, I'm okay with his answer.
I don't think it was an answer. I think he was asking you a question. If you'd like Mr. Noble to repeat the question, we can do that. Mr. Noble, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was just asking really if all license objectives are being adhered to, does it matter like what period of time that covers? Because obviously it was brought up about the venue being open for sort of 39 hours, but obviously there wouldn't be events going on all the way through that period. You'd have maybe 2 events and a gap in that. So yeah, it's not like, yeah, I guess from a policing perspective, yeah, if licensing objectives are being met, is that a problem for the police?
I think I mentioned earlier about the safety of the staff, so I'm not sure like how many hours continuously your staff will be working, or if they will be replaced, other staff. Yeah, so it was not mentioned anything like that in the description of the event. 39 hours, it's a long period of time indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to, I don't know, running a 24-hour supermarket there. You have shifts and people change, and yeah, obviously we don't request staff to work. I wouldn't request for them to work that long because, yeah, that would obviously not be appropriate. So, yeah.
Thank you, Police Constable. Ms. Barrett, did you want to come in?
Yeah, Chair, I think maybe it would be helpful if you would allow for Mr. Noble to actually explain what the event is about, what, how it's going to, how it's intended to be managed. Because obviously, I mean, the question that's being asked is really around, do we want to be able to have, do we want to allow for people to be able to drink in non-stop for how many hours? That's the issue. How is alcohol going to be managed? And if you're now here offering that the event could close on, for an hour, or offering something else, then, that wasn't put on the application form. So obviously the police and the noise RA or the licensing authority isn't going to know that. So it'd be helpful maybe if we had a summary of what the event was about and how it was going to be, managed by the cells and who was involved in that. And also obviously because it is a music events come along with their own foibles, and so what medical provisions was going to be in place, you know, for music events, there's always a drug of choice depending on the type of crowd that music is you know, is attracting to it. What's going to be put in place, because I know recently Public Health have had quite a lot of there's been quite a lot of publicity around, is it naloxone and synthetic opioids that are being used in these kind of rave events. So all of those kind of things, I suppose what would be helpful is if he just gave us a summary.
Yeah.
Thank you. So in that case, we normally with TENS start off with the objectors and then we move to the notice giver. What I propose to do is that before we hear Mr. Darvish, I am going to hear the notice giver's presentation. So you have 5 minutes to present your case, Mr. Noble, and then we will ask questions based on your presentation. So if you haven't fully covered what the nature of the event is in your presentation, we will likely draw this out in the questioning as well. So if you're happy to proceed in that way, Mr. Noble, you have 5 minutes to present your position.
Yeah, that's fine, Anna, thank you. So the venue, we host different promoters that wish to hold events. Obviously the space is quite private on the weekend, with it being an industrial estate, so it's quite suitable as a location for extended parties or events, or I mean, we've done over the past year, we've done a whole range of things, from weddings to birthday parties to different types of genre music events, to breathwork classes. So we trying to create a community spot that can host, you know, all sorts of different things. So on a weekend, it's often that we maybe only have an event on a Saturday, and it may be an extended event. I mean, we've put in 1 or 2 requests recently to go a little bit later than 5 a.m. because the promoters may be asked. And obviously from our perspective, it's like, if it's a safe and responsible space, obviously it's good for us to work with the promoters that are good as well, because we make more money and the staff get more hours and they make more money, and it kind of helps the business. And obviously, you know, we feel like it's a positive thing in the community to have really like spaces available, you know, throughout the night as well as the day. I think growing up, I saw London as a very much a 24-hour city, and with COVID that changed quite a bit, and I think it's maybe starting to go back a little bit more the other way. But you go to like European cities and you maybe see a bit more of a late night culture in some places, and I think there's some spaces in London that are doing a really good job of that, and it's good to have those spaces to host people, gives young people places to, you know, enjoy music and hang out with their friends and enjoy themselves and feel safe. And I don't know if a time restriction is as, it depends on the event and the venue. But yeah, if an event stops at say like 4 a.m. and there's a gap for 2 hours and an event starts in the day, you know, you've got bartenders, you've got people that work through the night that want to go out afterwards and go to a party that starts, you know, early in the morning and have somewhere to go. And you know, there's obviously some other places, a lot of places down in East London that do that. There's maybe less so in Haringey at the moment. So that's really what we're trying to offer. And we work with SSMRT now, which is an SIA registered security company. Like, they handle some quite big events, so they all have like cameras, like body cams on, which record if there's an incident or an issue. And a lot of those guys and girls are medical trained as well. So some of them are paramedic trained, some of them are medical trained. So they have a good skill set for that. And then with our bar managers, a lot of them have personal licenses as well. And there's the bar staff, a lot of them have experience working in in different venues around London as well. So I'd say it's quite an experienced crew of people, and yeah, we have obviously rotas with staff and changeover, and we've not really experienced many issues really in the past year of operating. I think it's been, yeah, from my perspective, it's gone pretty well. So yeah, hopefully you guys agree. That's pretty much where we're at.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. I have a couple of questions, and then I'll come to Councillor Peacock, and I can see that Ms. Barrett also wants to come in. My first question is, I still haven't understood what type of event Wiggle is. Could you explain that and tell us why it needs to run for 39 hours?
Wiggle's not running for 39 hours. That starts at like 5 or 6 a.m. and then would probably run through to maybe 1 or 2 in the afternoon on Sunday. So that's like an electronic music event, like techno or tech house. So yeah, it's a collective of DJs and yeah, playing music and looking for a space to operate on a Sunday. We did an event with them with a similar setup last year, and we got attendance for that. I think that was October or November last year, so it's basically the same event again. And from my perspective, obviously, I'd like to understand. It's not that we want to be open these hours all the time or every week or even every month, but it'd be nice to understand so we can communicate to promoters if there is the opportunity to host events like this occasionally, whether it's like 3 or 4 times a year, because there is a demand for it. And yeah, obviously from our perspective, being open later and longer, we make more money as a premises, and we like to host stuff where people are enjoying themselves and having a good time.
So you said it starts at 5 a.m.?
Yeah, that's correct.
So are you expecting patrons to arrive at your premises at 5, or would they have already started partying at your premises overnight and then Wiggle will start at 5 a.m.?
I think they'd probably come from somewhere else and start at 5 a.m. at our place. So yeah, that's probably the likely.
So they would have been partying all night, and then at the end of the night they would come to Wiggle and continue
not
partying throughout
necessarily.
the day.
Can't comment on what people want to do before. I mean, like I said, they might have been at work, or a lot of people work in hospitality and look for a place to go after that. When I grew up in Leeds, there used to be a venue that was open all day on a Sunday, and people that worked late nights on a Saturday would go there for a place to relax and unwind with other people like that. So yeah, it's offering more of a 24-hour accessibility I think the space is suitable for that, but obviously that's for you guys to decide.
One follow-up question, and I'll come to Councillor Peacock, because I can tell that she's very keen to ask her questions. The police was mentioning sort of their concerns about public safety. Have you considered that there might be potential patrons who have a difficult relationship with alcohol, with substance abuse, for whom sort of this possibility to party for an extended amount of time might encourage them to partake of alcohol or drugs for a very extended period of time to a degree that might put them at risk or encourage self-destructive behavior? And how will you mitigate for this?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, we have had welfare officers in venue that are used to kind of dealing with people and obviously keep an eye out for if someone maybe, has consumed too much alcohol or something like that. So they would, take them to the side and give them water and maybe encourage them to, take a taxi home and kind of oversee that situation. So I think, this sort of genre of society are quite keen on welfare, and we try and implement that if we think it's necessary, to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone that attends. So it's still the same principles at 5 a.m. as at 11 p.m. If someone turns up drunk to an entrance and they don't get access past a SIA security guard, they get searched on entrance, they get checked, and they're obviously very strict and thorough with that to prevent issues like that.
Have you organized this type of event elsewhere?
No, I mean, like I said, we've only done one with these hours at this premises with the 10 last year. But yeah, obviously we've been running various events or some extended ones through the day. In the summer, obviously people, have been wanting to enjoy themselves because we've been having a good summer. So I think the team we have, as I mentioned before, very experienced in that, and I think I think I see it's quite a positive thing, and it's key to make sure everyone's looked after in that process, and that's it really.
And when you did organize this event last year, did you have any patrons who required welfare support or medical attention because they had potentially overconsumed alcohol or used illegal substances for an extended period of time?
I'd say there's probably a couple of people needed a bottle of water handed to them, but I wouldn't say that's the majority. I would say, it's not dissimilar to a pub at 10 p.m. in any part of England. There's probably a couple of people that need a glass of water because people consume stuff in different ways and have different tolerances and, manage themselves differently. I guess, part of running a licensed premises is looking out for that and, keeping an eye on it. So yeah, obviously that's a big key aspect of what we've done so far, because that's paramount to what we try and do.
Thank you. Councillor Peacock, did you have a question for Mr. Noble?
Yes. And Mr. Noble, it's very nice hearing you, and I'm so glad that you enjoy all the stuff. I've been looking at the plans and it just confuses me. Does different events take place in different parts of the building? What is the big building here? Is that like a mezzanine floor? And what exactly is happening? Because I've enjoyed listening to you, but I'm still totally confused. I don't know, is there something going on in this part or something going on in that part or something else in somewhere else? Is it like the Edinburgh Fringe where there's lots of like comedian and all sorts of things going? I really, really don't know. And I would love to know. I mean, I might be one of the people that comes along at 5 o'clock in the morning.
You
Who
should
knows?
come, yeah.
Even at my age, I'll have a go at it. But I really, really, I enjoy listening to you, but I really don't understand what is going on. I really, really don't. Please tell me, what is Wiggle? I don't know. Maybe because I'm an old person, I don't know. But is there dancing in one part? Is there a comedian in another part? Did it follow on? Is there an agenda so people can know what's going on and they can go from one part to another? How do you use your space?
Yeah, so I mean, on the plan there, the main area is on the floor in the middle. So we have the deck set up with a sound system kind of pointing outwards, and that room will hold like a couple hundred people, and then we have a smoking area outside and a bar at the front. So there's probably some comedians in the smoking area at 3 a.m, but we don't hire a comedian to come and operate. So it's mainly like dance music and people dancing and having a good time and socializing, having some drinks, having a cigarette. So that's the general vibe of it. Obviously it differs from event to event, but that's kind of sums up what Wiggle, I think, would be about.
Can I just ask you one further question, please, Chair? What is the age group? Do you have older people like me, or they're all young people? What is the age group that attends?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's I think we've been quite diverse, which has been really nice. I mean, there's been a whole range from people in their 20s up to people your age. Yeah, for sure. We did we had an event toward the end of last year, Mishti Dance, which is a Southeast Asian record label, but they've been going about 25 years. So that was like a lot of older like musicians and DJs and sound systems. The guy, you might remember it, there was a guy called Punjabi MC came and played. It's quite a famous song back in the day. Like you probably heard it. I don't know if I want to do it on live on here, but yeah. So yeah, we have a mix. Yeah, we have a mix of stuff. So it does depend. I mean, some of the older crowds, when we have them, they do want to finish earlier. They want to finish at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. at the latest, maybe earlier, but not always. But then, yeah, some of the younger people, obviously, I don't know. I had a lot of energy in my 20s. I like to go out and not come home for a few days, and it was a lot of good fun. So, yeah. I can empathise. Not so much anymore. I've got an 18-month-old baby, so if we work till 5 a.m., I come home and he's already awake, which is challenging. But yeah, it's all good.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. Before I come to Ms. Barrett, I just wanted to check if Councillor Gunas had any questions. Councillor Gunas, are you still there?
Yes. Can you not see me? Sorry.
You've
Chair.
frozen
I
on.
don't
Okay,
have,
we can see you.
I don't have any question. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, did you want to intervene?
Yes, please. Can I just to get some clarification, please? I wanted to know what the capacity was for the premises. And in reality, you know, the Friday night, that event is going to, it's meant to be closed to the public by 5 o'clock. So there will be people on the premises, supposedly, who will then be able to transfer into whatever is starting from the 5 a.m. that morning under the 10s, if that were to be granted, to then continue on throughout. So the capacity will be relevant. How is the event being advertised? I mean, I have looked for Wiggle, I can't find it anywhere. Looked on Skiddle all over the place, couldn't find it at all. And so I'd like to know how it's being advertised and who the target audience are. I would like some clarity as to what medical requirements, what medical provisions were going to be in place, because as we said, that's a lot of hours for people to be out in a venue, you know, and if anything that was to happen untoward, be it alcohol, drug related, you know, people not missing their own medication, maybe, you know, all that sort of thing, or if they were diabetics and needed to be able to leave their stuff, you know, with management while they're partying, to be able to come back to that, all needs to be sorted out from a medical aspect, really. So I'd just like to know that kind of information, really, please.
Yeah, so I'll touch on the medical stuff first. The SAA team are often medic trained, or a couple of them have trained almost to paramedic level. They have Lewis it comes in his car and it's got all the kit in the back. So they're quite a competent, well-trained team of security. So for something like that, we could certainly request to have someone in place who can, you know, manage that or is used to doing events like that. In terms of the changeover and having an event the night before, I think it's a fair point that it probably makes sense to shut it and clear it out for an hour and make sure it is a total new set of people coming in. And that gives us chance to kind of clear it out and reset. So, I mean, part of coming on and wanting to talk to you guys is to understand if we were to go ahead with this the best way you know, to do that. And I think from the discussion now, I think that certainly makes sense. Because yeah, obviously clearing the unit out is not particularly difficult, but yeah, I think having a little break for the one before would, for the one after would make sense. And with Wiggle, I'd say the age range is probably like 25 to 40-year-old, roughly, I'd say. Obviously, don't quote me on that, but that would be my guesstimate of their crowd. So, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Chair, can I just follow up, please? So,
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
just
think
the final bit, Dahlia. Sorry. Yeah, they've not started advertising it yet because I think they're waiting back to hear from this with regards to the TENS. So that's why. But I could potentially share some more information on the event with that if you wanted to have a look.
Right. Okay. Has it taken place elsewhere, this event?
Yeah, they've done quite a lot of events before. Yeah, like I say, we've had them before.
Do you know where?
I think they've done stuff all over. They might have done stuff with the cause before, and maybe Unit 58. So yeah, I think they've probably done a range. I don't know their full kind of location history, but yeah.
Sorry, Chair, just for the panel really. So, you know, events like this, you would expect that the security and your medical provision is going to be a separate thing, really. So you will need stand-up separate medical provision on hand that are trained and are used to doing like a nightclubby or rave kind of crowd, and will therefore come prepared with equipment needed, you know, if anything was to happen to an individual or to individuals in that kind of a setting. And also I think for this, you know, for you to allow this through, safeguarding the issue of you know, violence against women and girls, and safety in the nighttime economy would also be a factor. So I would say, you know, people who's had wave training or safeguarding training, the Arcs for Angela type of requirement as well, would have to be a factor that should also be in place, but certainly a separate medical provision, you know, if the committee were minded for this to be moved forward, Chair. And there I'll shut up for the time being.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. I just wanted to go back to an earlier point, an earlier question Ms. Barrett asked, which I don't think has been answered. So she asked about the capacity of the venue. I'm interested to know what the capacity is and how many people you're expecting to attend.
Yeah, so I mean, the capacity goes to kind of 300 in the day. It could probably be like 350 with the outdoor area. This event would be less, I think. I think we'd be looking at more like 150, maybe 175 at a push, but yeah, probably 150.
Thank you. And perhaps just to pick up on Ms. Barrett's point, what measures have you put in place to protect women and girls at this event?
Yeah, we do ask Angela at the bar. Obviously, the security are aware to keep an eye out on that, as well as the promoters and the bar staff, and then having a welfare team as well to go around and keep an eye out. And again, I'd say this crowd are quite are very aware with these type of things. So if something happened, you'd be sure that someone would report it to a welfare or security probably quite quickly. Again, it doesn't happen very often, but on occasion when that has happened, that is usually what would happen, and the security would take someone aside and interview them or make a report on the situation, and then depending on what the people involved said, they would choose whether to evict or eject that person, and then the security will submit the reports in the morning to myself or to the bar manager.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, can I just sorry.
I just have one more question. What kind of training or qualifications do the welfare officers have?
That's a good question. We get them from the SAA team people, so I'm informed they're trained in welfare. I should probably explore further details on that. I mean, they usually seem very hands-on, and they'll have hikers on. They do it in multiple clubs or venues, so they generally seem experienced in that position. But I can certainly find out more information on their backgrounds.
Thank you. Ms. Barrett, do you have a further question?
Yeah, Chair, sorry. I was just saying, I suppose in hindsight, what would have been helpful is for more detailed plans for this event. I mean, you know, if it is a dance event, a rave kind of event taking place across how many hours, you know, there's safeguarding stuff. There's also spiking that, you know, we would want to know how that was being managed, what is in place within the premises to deal with that or to counteract that. And if you're searching patrons, which you would need to do for this type of event to make sure that they're not bringing in certain types of drugs, what policies in place for dealing with that? How are illicit drugs taken away from individuals, and then what happens? Who's making contact with the police thereafter? What happens with those drugs once they've been taken?
Sure. We so we had the police came around when we got a license. Was it end of last year or early this year when we updated it with evidence bags? So the security have put. There's not been like a huge problem with it, but the few bits that have been taken have been put in evidence bags. I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure what the procedure is post doing that. Are we supposed to contact the police directly, or the police when they come round? Or
Yes.
We didn't really get to that part of the communication. But, yeah. So we're meant to contact the police to collect, and then take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. So I'm now going to offer the objectors the opportunity to ask questions to Mr. Noble. Mr. Darvish, you've had your hand up for a while. Do you have questions for Mr. Noble?
I have one question which I think I'm going to ask later on because Ms. Barrett covered it properly. Couple of points about the SIA badges. There is no requirement to have first aid because I used to have one. Even if, let's say, they do have they are first aiders, but first aiding, they have no experience or knowledge of how dealing with people who take drugs. So having a paramedic, registered paramedic.
What is your question for Mr. Noble, please?
My question is, if you're starting your event from your previous night, have you provided what is your event specifically is and how that list of DJ playing coming to the next day? Because the way that dance kind of event works is that usually they keep the best DJ for the headlining, meaning they always keep the last 2 hours. So I want to understand if you're coming from your next night, coming to the event all the way to going to Sunday. Have you provided us with any program of who's playing at what time?
Yeah, so the individual events will normally put their set list up like at the venue and might post that on their social media. I mean, it depends on the type of event. Obviously, because we do such a range of events, it would often be the case that the type of event that was on, say, Saturday night might be a different genre of music to the event that's on Sunday. So the chances are you're not going to necessarily have people from the event the night before that even want to go to the event afterwards. So you potentially going to have a change over there just because it's a different sort of crowd. It's a different group of people. So yeah, the DJs, I don't know. I mean, I've seen headliners come on quite early because that was the only time they could book them at our place if they've got a gig later on. Obviously, sometimes, yeah, they do come on later, but they'd be different promoters, so it'd be a separate event. And obviously, the promoter wouldn't necessarily want you know, they're selling tickets to their event, so the venue would need to be cleared, and then people with tickets would need to come in again, which they'd purchase online. So it's not that you'd necessarily get, like, say, the same people coming into the next event. Don't know, it's a bit like someone going to what's a good example? Don't know, Rolling Stones gig and then a Taylor Swift gig. You know, you might not get the same crossover.
So you do not, regardless, if someone has from previous night ticket for the next day, they can stay. They can't be kicked out. That's one thing.
Well, they'd have to be, everyone would have to leave at the end of the event. The security would clear the premises. And then if a new event started, they'd have to queue up and have a ticket and come in again. But then if they're obviously intoxicated or something like that, then they wouldn't gain entry. So that's
so leaving at 5 a.m. in the morning in the residential area itself create a potential public nuisance. That's one thing. And as if I'm not mistaken, you stated that this is an industrial state. So there is no facility to kind of provide any type of break-in area, eating, drinking, that for the night previous hunters or ravers to come out, sit down, get something to eat, prepare for the next event. And it's appeared to me that not only you don't have any clear action plan, but you don't necessarily know exactly what's happening on the night.
Mr. Darvish, I think you can make these points in your presentation. For now, I only want to hear questions. Ms. Barrett? You're on mute.
Yeah. Can I just ask, Mr. Noble, the events, are they strictly a rave event? Are any of these, because I know there's been events coming in from Shoreditch, there's been some, is it like any kind of LGBTQ event or a fetish event or any of that that's going to be offered throughout the course of this?
Yeah, we've done a few LGBTQ events. That seems to be quite popular. So yeah, they've been really good events, to be honest.
No, I'm saying for this, for what we're talking about
for this one.
Yeah.
No, this is not. I wouldn't say that. That's not what they promote. No. So.
It's not, and it's not a fetish event either.
No.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Police Constable Kostaka, I just wanted to check if you had questions for Mr. Noble.
Yes, please. In one of the premises license sentence, it says something in the way there shall be no admittance or readmittance to the premises after 3 o'clock unless there are booked promoters or DJs. So if I understand correctly, nobody will be admitted after 3 o'clock, and then is this a possibility for people to loiter within industrial estate for a couple of hours, so they will be present at 5 o'clock for the new event starting at 5 a.m. And then how you control the crowds? Do you have a clicker? Yeah, thank you.
The securities have clickers for in and out and numbers, and they'll report that hourly to keep an eye on numbers. I wouldn't imagine people would come and loiter. Obviously, with stuff generally being advertised online now, and with the premises kind of being tucked away and at the back of the estates is somewhat remote. It's kind of like if you have a ticket, then you're going to come to the event. If you don't, you're not necessarily going to know it's happening. So it is quite, it's quite private in that respect, which kind of helps with managing that situation. And I mean, to be honest, I think usually the security stop entry by 2 a.m. for like a 5 a.m. event. So yeah, even earlier than that.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. Miss Police Constable Kostaka, do you have any further questions?
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think the only person we have not heard from is Mr. Darvish. Mr. Darvish, you have 5 minutes to present your objection.
No problem. Thank you very much, Chair. Good evening, Chair, members of the subcommittee. I'm going to read from my statement. I am a noise and nuisance officer, and I formally object at the temporary event notice for the above, well, the application. I'm coming on October 5th from 5 a.m. to noon. The premise already have a license permitting operating till 5 a.m. This closing time was granted with due consideration to the nature of the venue, its location, and the potential impact of the surrounding area. Extending licensable activity into Sunday morning raises a significant concern regarding public and nuisance and noise nuisance, in particular during hours when wider community expects peace and quiet. While the applicant has described the venue as being located within the industrial estate with limited residential presence, it is important to note that the noise, especially low frequency amplified music, can travel well beyond immediate vicinity. In particular, in early hours of the morning, Sunday morning, when the ambient noise level are low. The claim that the nearest neighbors are over 1 kilometer away does not eliminate the risk of disturbance, especially when patrons begin to leave the venue during the daylight or arriving at 5 a.m. The applicant has outlined several mitigation measures, including SIA registered security, body camera, welfare, trained staff, and sound monitoring. But unfortunately, he has not provided any clear action how these aspects will be enforced or put in place. And these are all, although it seems that they have thought about these things, but unfortunately is not fully addressed with full concern about the appropriateness of the continuing licensable activity into Sunday morning all the way to midday. Especially that time of the Sunday morning, it's considering can be considered by many as a rest period, religious observance, or family routine, which is going to be disrupted if such events go ahead. The applicant notes that the similar event was held last year. However, each temporary event notice must be assessed on its own merits, taking into account of the specific circumstances, timing, and potential impact of the proposed event. Past occurrences do not guarantee the future events will be free of disturbance or nuisance, especially when extended hours are being requested. Moreover, the police, the Metropolitan Police also submitted the representation raising the similar public safety and disorder, which further supports our approach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Darvish. Councillor Peacock, Councillor Gunas, do you have any questions for Mr. Darvish? No questions. Mr. Noble, do you have any questions for Mr. Darvish?
Yeah, can I kind of answer, or does it have to be a question?
I think maybe you'll have an opportunity to sum up at the end. So if you'd like to answer any points that have come up, you can address them at that point. At this stage, I'd just like to hear questions, please.
I think, yeah, I guess my question is would it, I guess it'd be a positive thing in your opinion if we added an additional steward on the estate to help manage patrons kind of exiting and leaving. We already have a security guard at the front gate who has the CCTV around the estate, but yeah, having an extra kind of manned person, would that help circumvent fears of the people entering and leaving?
I'm just going to point at a couple of points that Miss Barrett raised earlier on. I have worked as a SIA badge, and I also worked as a police officer. Preparing for such an extended period of such event, which including dance music in particular, regardless if we want to accept it or not, the realities is one way or the other is associated with illegal substance. So it needs a very thorough planning, having even biggest nightclub in London, which they close at 5 a.m., they all have paramedic on site, even though they have very strict kind of no drugs policy at the door, still people can manage to bring drugs inside or take it before coming inside. So to me, it just appears that the whole event is not very, very well thought and prepared to go for such extending hours, which if it was, sure, we will understand that it's a type of place, industrial state, rave party, etc. But it feels it's just based in, some hypothetical and forward, trying to set up a 39-hour. Even in theory, we're gonna stop for an hour to stop people when you don't have a ticket, because the facility is not provided food, proper places they can rest, changeover, etc. I don't think, at least at this time or for this application, you are ready for such event.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I just state that we have done this before, and I think
Mr. Noble, I think you can restate your points when you're summing up at the end. Okay. So unless there are any further questions for Mr. Darvish, we will move to summing up. Police Constable Kostaka, could you sum up your position, please?
Yes, thank you. So as I mentioned before, regarding safety measurements with people potentially drinking alcohol for long period of time or taking illegal substances, the safety of the staff. I would like to add what Dalia said earlier about safeguarding during nighttime economy. So these are the concerns of the police. And we think that there is a danger that the applicant will not be able to uphold the licensing objectives for 39 hours continuously. Thank you.
Thank you, Police Constable. Mr. Darvish, could you sum up your position?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just summing up what I've explained, we consider the existing 5 a.m. closing time for both to be both sufficient and appropriate for the venue and the nature of event. Extending licensable activity Sunday morning present a clear risk to the license, in particular in relation to the prevent of public nuisance. Furthermore, the application lacks the detail and a robust action plan outlining how the safety and well-being of the attendees will be maintained and how potential nuisance will be effectively mitigated. On the basis of this we recommend respectfully to subcommittee to refuse the temporary event notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Darvish. Mr. Noble, could you please sum up your position?
Yeah, I think obviously as a personal license holder, I've had a personal license for about 11 years now. I've run tents at festivals, like big festivals like Secret Garden Party, Boomtown, different places around the country. And then obviously we have a premises now, which we've been operating for a year. And we've got a really great crew of people that work here. We've worked really hard to work to the guidelines of the licensing objectives to ensure the requests of the police and environmental health and the council have been adhered to. And I think the fact that we've not had any issues whilst operating for the past 12 months and throwing similar types of event highlights that we do have the plans in place to operate such a venue. I mean, with regards to sound, we have a sound engineer on site at all times who manages the equipment, manages decibel levels, ensures the operations of the venue are looked after. And same with the security. I think the company work with quite a few large venues in London that operate several thousand people, and they're very experienced and a good aid for us to help us operate on that level. So although I take on board what you say about having the separate paramedic and SIA, some of these SIA security are trained to a very, very high level on the medic side as well. So yeah, they have a lot of experience in doing similar things in London. So that's my case.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. So we'll draw this to a close here. What we are going to do now is the committee members are going to go to a separate room to deliberate. Mr. Plummer, will you be sending us a link for that deliberation room?
Yeah, that link's been sent across, and I can invite you all into that meeting momentarily.
Excellent. So we will go to that separate deliberation room to reach our decisions on the 10s. We will come back to the meeting to communicate our decision to Mr. Lembo and Mr. Noble on the 2 10s. And then I think we will go back to the deliberation room to discuss the first application. So I suggest we take the decision on the 10s first, just to avoid keeping Mr. Lemba and Mr. Noble on the call for much later. And then once we've communicated the decision on the 10s, we'll meet again to discuss the first application we discussed in this meeting.
Also, Chair, just to note, because it's potential that we may pass 10 o'clock, is it worth potentially suspending standing order Part 4, Section B, paragraph 18 to move past 10 p.m.
Yes, I'm happy to suspend the standing order, although hopefully
Unlikely we'll go past. Yeah.
Until what time? Until what time?
I think the suspension means we extend by 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully we'll be able to take our decision before that, and we will not have to stay on past 10. But of course, if we don't suspend it in time, we will not be able to give the decision. So it's always better to be covered. Okay, thank you, everyone. So the councillors are going to meet in the deliberation room, and we'll come back to this meeting once we have a decision on the 2 10s, and we will communicate that to Mr. Lemba and Mr. Noble on this call.
Okay.
We'll see you very shortly.
Thank you.
Are you going to put up a link?
Richard has emailed you a link. Good evening. I believe we are recording. Are we quorate? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And I think both Mr. Lemba and Mr. Noble are here. So we will, so as a committee, we have deliberated and we are going to share our decisions now, and you will receive the decisions with reasons after the meeting. So on the matter of the objection to the temporary event notice, Chair Nikki, our decision is to serve a counter notice, and you will receive the counter notice tomorrow with reasons. So this means the council is objecting to the event going ahead. On the matter of the objection to the temporary event notice at Pirates Grog Unit, the council is also going to serve a counter notice, and you will receive this within 5 working days with reasons. So we will conclude this meeting here. You will receive the counter notices with reasons in the timeframes that I outlined. And the committee members will reconvene in the deliberation room to discuss the first application we discussed this evening. Thank you, everyone, and good evening.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thanks.
Good night.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Bye bye.